Welcome back to our weekly series of Shakespeare's plays. We're doing a summary of one play each week, starting with the histories, and this week we're on the third Henry play, Henry IV Part 1. Henry IV Part 1 is one of Shakespeare's most studied plays. It mixes politics, rebellion, and witty comedy with Prince Hal's transformation at the core. It's an accessible and enjoyable play, so it's often done at GCSE. I actually studied it myself. So Scene 1 opens the play at the Royal Court in London. King Henry IV opens the play longing for peace after civil strife. If you're wondering what that strife is, watch our summary of Richard II last week. He wants to lead a crusade to Jerusalem. So shaken as we are, so wan with care, find we a time for fright and peace to pant. This actually connects directly to the ending of Richard II. Adds continuity, it's almost a reminder. But news interrupts the Scots, led by Douglas, and the Welsh, led by Glendower, are rebelling. Henry is especially disturbed by the contrast between his reckless son, Prince Hal, and the brave young Harry Percy, nicknamed Hotspur. He laments, "See riot and dishonour stain the brow of my young Harry." Thus the king sets up the central conflict. Hal must prove himself worthy, as he will be the future Henry V. Scene 2, Eastcheap, the Boar's Head Tavern. We meet Hal and Sir John Falstaff. Well, Falstaff is witty and corrupt. He jokes about theft while Hal teases him. Falstaff asks, "What time is it?" Hal replies, "What a devil hast thou to do with the time of day?" The humour contrasts with the solemnity of Act 1, Scene 1. Hal then delivers his first soliloquy, revealing his plan to reform. "I'll so offend to make offence a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will." This shows his strategy: appear wayward, then shock everyone by reforming. Scene 3, the court. The rebels' grievances are discussed. Hotspur refuses to surrender Scottish prisoners unless his demands are met. He rails against King Henry, "Send danger from the east unto the west, so honour cross it from the north to south." His uncle Worcester warns him against rashness, but Hotspur's fiery temperament dominates. The seeds of rebellion are sown. Act 1 has truly set the scene for the play. King Henry fears rebellion and despairs over Prince Hal's conduct. Meanwhile, Hal and Falstaff revel in tavern life. But Hal secretly plots a reformation. Hotspur and the Percys grow discontent, preparing for revolt. Act 2, Scene 1, an inn yard in Rochester. Two carriers prepare for a journey, while Gadshill, a highwayman, plots a robbery. This comic interlude sets up the upcoming robbery by Falstaff and his companions later in the play. Scene 2, the road near Gadshill. Falstaff, Gadshill, Bardolph and Peto prepare to rob travellers. Falstaff blusters, "There's honour for you, here's no vanity." They succeed briefly but are ambushed by Hal and Poins in disguise, who rob them in turn, setting up later mockery. Scene 3, Warkworth Castle. Hotspur receives a letter from a noble ally. Refusing to join the rebellion, he rages, mocking this caution. Oh, the blood more stirs to rouse a lion than to start a hare. Lady Percy, his wife, questions his restlessness. Tell me, sweet lord, what is't that takes from thee thy stomach, pleasure, and thy golden sleep? But Hotspur dodges her, consumed by rebellion. Scene 4, we return to the Boar's Head Tavern. One of the play's most famous scenes, Falstaff recounts the robbery, lying extravagantly, 100 upon poor 4 of us. Well, Hal exposes the lie, ridiculing Falstaff. They then role-play as king and prince. Falstaff, pretending to be King Henry, pleads Hal's case. Banish plump Jack and banish all the world, Hal replies coldly, I do, I will. This foreshadows Falstaff's eventual rejection. News arrives, rebellion is spreading, and Hal is summoned to court. The comic robbery antics showcase Falstaff's lies. Hal shows wit and dominance in the tavern. Hotspur grows obsessed with rebellion, while Lady Percy reveals the personal toll of this rebellion. Act 3, Scene 1 is in Glendower's house in Wales. The rebel leaders, Hotspur, Worcester, Mortimer and Glendower, divide the kingdom's future map. Hotspur mocks Glendower's claim of magical powers. Why, so can I, or so can any man. But will they come when they do call for them? Tensions rise, showing the fragility of the rebel alliance. Lady Mortimer sings in Welsh, and Mortimer laments his inability to speak her language. Scene 2, the palace. King Henry confronts Prince Hal for his waywardness. For thou hast lost thy princely privilege with vile participation. Hal responds earnestly, promising redemption. I shall hereafter, my thrice gracious lord, be more myself. This is a pivotal moment. Hal begins his transformation at this point. Scene 3 is in Eastcheap in London. Back in the tavern, Falstaff prepares to join the war effort, comically abusing his commission to recruit soldiers. He justifies his vices. If sack and sugar be a fault, God help the wicked. Here the play blends serious politics and low comedy. The rebels' alliance is already showing cracks. Hal reconciles with his father, cementing his reform arc, and Falstaff prepares for war in his unsurprisingly corrupt and comic way. With Act 4, the war is upon us. Scene 1, the rebel camp in Shrewsbury. Hotspur learns that Glendower cannot bring troops, and at Northumberland his father is ill. Worcester and Douglas still urge battle, and Hotspur remains undaunted. Doomsday is near, die all, die merrily. Scene 2, on a road near Coventry. Falstaff leads his ragged soldiers, men he has pressed into service by bribery and extortion, and he scoffs at their appearance. God enough to toss, food for powder, food for powder. This exposes the grim reality of war for commoners. Scene 3, at the rebel camp. Hotspur and Douglas prepare for battle. Hotspur's courage shines, but his rashness dominates as it always does with his fiery character. Scene 4 at the King's camp. King Henry, Worcester and Hal discuss the rebels. Worcester conceals Henry's offer of pardon for Hotspur, ensuring conflict. Act 4 has shown us that Hotspur presses ahead despite setbacks. Falstaff's food for powder speech satirises war, and Worcester's deceit ensures that peace is impossible. Act 5, in Scene 1, is in the King's camp. King Henry offers to pardon the rebels if they yield, but Worcester withholds the offer again. Hal nobly offers to fight Hotspur in single combat. The Prince of Wales doth join with all the world in praise of Henry Percy. This shows Hal's growing honour. In Scene 2 in the rebel camp, Worcester lies to Hotspur and he claims no pardon was offered. Hotspur, inflamed, prepares for battle. Scene 3 on the battlefield, the battle begins. Douglas kills Sir Walter Blunt, mistaking him for the king, and Falstaff comically feigns death to survive. In Scene 4, on another part of the battlefield, Hal rescues his father from Douglas, earning Henry's praise. Thou hast redeemed thy lost opinion. Then comes the climactic duel between Hal and Hotspur falls. O Harry, thou hast robbed me of my youth. Hal honours his fallen foe. Ill-weaved ambition, how much art thou shrunk. Falstaff, reviving from his mock death, claims credit for Hotspur's death, steals Hal's glory with comic audacity. But at Scene 5 on the battlefield, the rebels are defeated. Worcester and Vernon are executed. King Henry plans further campaigns. Hal proved himself by saving his father and killing Hotspur, fulfilling his promise of redemption. Falstaff steals credit for Hotspur's death, undercutting the nobility of war with comedy. The play weaves together the political rebellion of Hotspur and the personal rebellion of Prince Hal. Hal begins as a wastrel in Eastcheap, but transforms into a responsible heir, winning honour at Shrewsbury. Hotspur, though valiant, is undone by rashness. Falstaff provides comic relief while satirising war and honour. In Act 1, Henry fears rebellion. Hal revels, while Hotspur rebels. In Act 2, there's a comic robbery. Hotspur is restless. Hal teases Falstaff. In Act 3, the rebels quarrel, and Hal reconciles with Henry. Act 4 is all about preparations for war. Falstaff prepares his food for powder. And Act 5, the Battle of Shrewsbury. Hal redeems himself, Hotspur dies, and as ever, Falstaff lies. The key themes in this play are rebellion and authority. Henry says, "See riot and dishonour stain the brow of my young Harry." And Hotspur says, "Doomsday is near, die all, die merrily," embracing the risk he carries. Another theme is honour. Hotspur, "By heaven, methinks it were an easy leap to pluck bright honour from the pale-faced moon." Whereas Falstaff, "What is honour? A word. Who hath it? He that died a Wednesday." And Hal's transformation is central to the plot. Hal, "I'll so offend to make offence a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will." And King Henry, thou hast redeemed my lost opinion. But it's an enjoyable play as well because of the comedy and satire. Falstaff, banish plump Jack and banish all the world. Hal replies, I do, I will. Although this is a commonly studied play, less studied is Henry IV Part 2, which is equally interesting. And I hope you'll like and subscribe and join us next week for the continuation of King Henry V's evolution from drunken fool mixing with Falstaff to the iconic King of Agincourt.